A base map is a map of your site that shows you all of the key features of the site at an appropriate scale. Having an accurate base map to work with will save a lot of time as we progress through the design process. A base map takes time and attention to complete, but you'll gather valuable insights about your site as you complete this base mapping process. A base map shows all of the key features of your site at an appropriate scale. A scale of 1 inch equals 10 feet, or 1 inch equals 20 feet are generally used for homestead sites. What this means is that 1 inch on your base map is equivalent to 10 feet on the ground. Your base map will show your home, property lines, wells, existing gardens, large trees, septic systems, gutters, downspouts, and hose hookups. Remember, base maps only show existing features. Please watch this entire presentation once before attempting to follow the base mapping process. This process is not complicated, however, you will be choosing between two options and will need to familiarize yourself with both approaches. We will now cover two approaches to base mapping. The easy way is a quick and simple way to get the map completed, but it may leave out details that you would notice if you were measuring the site by hand. The precise base mapping method suggests that you walk around your site and measure the distances using a measuring tape. Based on the amount of time you have available, you may choose the method that works best for you. Before you get started, for the easy base map, you will need a computer and internet connection, Google Earth, which is a free download, tracing paper sized at 16 inches by 20 inches or larger, and a pencil. To begin the easy base map, download Google Earth and type in your site address. You can also use Google Maps, but Google Earth will allow you to measure distances accurately using something called the ruler tool. Once you've brought up your site on Google Earth, make sure that you're in satellite view and you can see the vegetation. Your map will look something like the map shown on the screen. Next, zoom into the map until you see the scale change to 20 feet. This means that 1 inch on the map equals 20 feet of distance on the ground. You'll see the blue arrow below pointing to the map scale. Now, print out your map and lay a piece of tracing paper on top. Label north on your map according to the Google Earth direction, and label the map scale 1 inch equals 20 feet. Also, label the piece of paper base map. Next, trace out the major site features and label them. This will include your residence, the property lines, fences, wells, gutters, downspouts, large trees, and any other site features that are prominent. Use a black pen or marker. Once you've completed this base map from Google Earth, you are finished with the easy base map section. If you would like to explore precise base mapping, please continue the presentation. Here's another easy option for a base map if you happen to have a projector. Project the Google Map or Google Earth image onto a wall using the projector and trace the image onto a large sheet of paper that you have taped onto the wall. You will need an engineer scale ruler to ensure that you have drawn the map to the appropriate scale. There's more information on how to use an engineer scale ruler in the map scale section of this presentation. Now we've arrived at precise mapping. Precise mapping is an optional exercise, but I encourage everyone to get out and measure their site by hand because you will gain greater insight into the features that exist. You will be sure to notice things that you had never seen before about your site. You may use the Google Maps method if precise mapping is not feasible for your site. Here are the materials that you will need before getting started. The first is a 16 by 20 inch or larger drawing pad or newsprint pad. Next, you'll need an engineer scale ruler. Make sure that you get an engineer scale and not the architect scale. You would need a drawing compass and large sheets or a roll of tracing paper. The tracing paper size should match the size of your drawing pad. Optional, you can obtain an assessor's map of your property available at your local town hall assessor's office, and a 100 or 50 foot measuring tape depending on the size of your site. Begin with a clipboard to record measurements on a rough sketch of your property. Later, you will transfer your measurements onto your final base map. The first step is to measure your site, including the dimensions of your residence, the distance from the street and property lines, the distance to major site features such as wells and septic systems, and also include large trees or any other major site features. Begin at your property line along the street and then take a measurement from the street to a corner of your house. Make sure your measurement is perpendicular to the road. Measure the dimensions of your home and the distance to nearby site features such as trees, existing gardens, lawns, and other features. Be sure to include the location of gutters and downspouts, and wells, septic systems, rock walls, and other site features. Once you've taken all your measurements, it's time to transcribe your measurements onto your base map. First, take a fresh sheet of drawing paper or newsprint and write your map scale in the lower right corner. Either 1 inch equals 10 feet or 1 inch equals 20 feet if you have a larger site. Draw in the compass directions, north, south, east, and west. You can use Google Maps to help you. Start by drawing in the main road and the house first. Then draw each feature to scale, which we'll show on the next slide. Scaling your base map. This base map is showing a scale of 1 inch equals 10 feet, which means that every inch on the map represents 10 feet on the ground. If you have a large site, you may want to use a scale of 1 inch equals 20 feet. Take out your engineer scale ruler and find the side labeled 10 for 10 scale. You will notice that instead of the usual quarters of an inch, this inch is marked by 10 equal segments, with each segment representing 1/10 of an inch. You can see how if 1 inch equals 10 feet on the ground, each 1/10 of an inch equals 1 foot on the ground. Now it's easy to translate our measurements onto the map. Let's say that your house is 50 feet from the road. You know that every inch on your map represents 10 feet on the ground, so you would draw a line 5 inches long, simply counting each inch as 10 feet as you draw. Continue working through all of your measurements in this way. For either method, if you realize that you have missed any key measurements, use the ruler tool in Google Earth to get the measurements. There is a tutorial for the ruler tool in the lecture module for this section.